Cross Hannes signs his long-awaited ELC with the Detroit Red Wings. Braden Yager breaks a 37-year-old franchise record. And the Winnipeg Ice clinch the East Division title with much applaud to their defensive acumen. I'm Kai Fahrenholtz, and you're dialed in to WHL Weekly.
Line left wing side, Gunther, he'll walk in, Richard, he scores! Now he's got the hat trick, Dylan Gunther. Hometown kid flying down that left wing. Who can stop that?
Bedard cuts to his right, shoots and scores! Connor Bedard breaks the deadlock 22 seconds into the second period.
How was your spring break? I had a blast. I watched a ton of hockey. I sailed out to Langley a couple times to get some WHL action. And all I have to say is, Olen Zellweger is beyond legit. He is the best defenseman in this league by a mile. Talk about size all you want. The Anaheim Ducks stole this guy with an early second round pick. Over the 4 games this week, he had 8 assists, 7 of which were primary assists, 18 shots on goal, bringing him up to 208 on the season, which is the most not just among WHL defensemen, but all CHL defensemen as well. Like, there's never a moment out there where you shouldn't be concerned about what Zellweger is going to do. He's beyond sound with the puck on his stick, he navigates the ice like butter on a hot pan, and he holds his own defensively. It's crazy to think he was only 6 days away from being eligible for the 2022 draft. Like, the kid is unreal for his age, and in my opinion, is the top point man in the WHL. If he plays one more year in the dub, like, there's no reason for him not to set some franchise records among defensemen. Zellweger's Silvertips have been a little inconsistent to their liking lately, dropping a game to the Giants during this week, but still sit atop of the US Division and Western Conference with 2 points over Kamloops. If you want to talk about consistency though, just watch the Blazers in the shootout. They've yet to lose a single game that's stretched beyond 65 minutes. They're 5-0 in shootouts this year. Like, only Tri-City holds the same honor when it comes to being undefeated past 65. Their current series with the Kelowna Rockets has truly been a battle for the ages though. They're currently 4-0 in a 6-game series with them, and 2 of these victories have been in the shootout, including a 12-rounder last week. 12 rounds! Everyone's been absolutely killing it, but when you look at it statistically, there are 4 names in particular that really stand out. Fraser Minton and Logan Stankoven from Kamloops, and Colton Dach and Andrew Crystal on Kelowna. Starting with the Blazers side, Stankoven has been doing nothing but scoring religiously versus their heated rivals, all without Luke Toporowski on his side, may I remind you, which is where Fraser Minton comes in because he's been chipping in everywhere, sniping home a shorthanded goal and completing the Gordie Howe hat trick in the process on Saturday. As for the Rockets, the 1-2 punch of Dach and Crystal has been striking at rich versus the Blazers. They have scored 5 of the team's 7 goals in the series and have combined for 9 points. But all in all, the greatest tandem has to be the showdown between Dylan Garand and Talon Boyko. Sure, one is 4-0 and the other is 0-4, but both have been stunning over the past 2 weeks. Having an above 900 save percentage against teams of this magnitude is mind-boggling. Both have started and played the entirety of every game so far, and probably will do the same in the upcoming week. I also think a lot of people forget that these guys are both under the New York Rangers organization. Like, how can you have Igor Shesterkin and Alex Gorgiev and still have guys of this caliber in your prospect pool? It's bananas. Another prospect pool that's still buzzing is the Detroit Red Wings, especially after signing Cross Hannes to his entry-level deal on March 16th. Which is impressive since this isn't a team that races to immediately or quickly sign their draft picks after taking them in the draft. Like, they haven't signed Elmer Soderblom, Simon Edmondson, or even Carter Mazer yet. And they're tearing up their respected leagues. They want to see stability and core progression across your entire game, and Hannes has provided that. I hope he slides into the Red Wings system politely. Like, his skill set is definitely one that I'd like to see at the next level. Let's look at some other guys that I believe are gonna pack a punch at the professional stage in the upcoming years. Strap yourselves in for the Prospect Watch.
Some more to the net, he scores! Bedard with room, he shoots, he scores! 19 straight games with a point, and it's a power play goal.
With Nate Danielson still out with the Wheat Kings, it's allowed former 6th overall pick Tyson Zimmer to showcase some more offensive output. He hasn't had the brightest impact offensively yet in the WHL, but with 3 goals in his last 4 games, things are starting to look a lot better heading into the postseason. And I don't know if I can say the same thing for Parker Bell and his Tri-City Americans, but he's closing off his regular season in style ahead of the draft. His terrific blend of size and offensive tools make him a dynamic player on this Americans roster. And the same can also be said about Callan Lind of Red Deer. Like, he's already known to be quite a heckler, but he was drafted for his all-around output, and the numbers are starting to show. he's becoming a crucial depth scorer behind the likes of Ben King and Arshdeep Bains. And as Victoria heats up, the depth scoring touch from Tanner Scott has also been greatly appreciated. He claimed the second star on a hard-fought 6-2 W over PG. Like, he's just an electric skater that can handle the puck at these high speeds, and if he adds more diversity to his game, he can be a late round flyer. Like, the real all-star in Victoria though, oh god, like I can't believe I'm saying it again, but Tyler Palmer. It's deja vu with this guy. Every week he's putting on a display for us to discuss. Like, he had a tough go in a 9-1 loss to the Cougars last week, but just like Michael Jordan,
it became personal with me.
Larocque hopped over his stick, and Armstrong's after it. Palmer coming out, made it to the puck first at the top of the circle. Brilliant save made by Tyler Palmer.
Over the next two contests, he stopped 75 of 77 shots for a .974 save percentage. Like, we really gotta start considering Palmer as a legit candidate for the draft. You want some stats? Like, I don't care, you're getting them. He's faced the 4th highest number of shots in the WHL despite playing at least 9 games less than the top 3 in the category. He's got a better save percentage than 2 of these goaltenders, and after Saturday's 3-0 win, he sits at 3 shutouts on the year, which puts him above each of these guys in that category. And these weren't easy shutouts either. His 50 save shutout versus Vancouver earlier this year was the franchise record. Add the 2 other 35 save performances to the list, and it only ever improves his case against the rest of these guys. NHL scouts, please look into this guy. Just like how you're always watching Connor Bedard, and I mean, what the hell. He just reached the 40 goal mark in commanding fashion. It only took him 49 games as a 16-year-old to hit this mark. And when you look at the overall company he's in regarding 16-year-olds to hit this plateau in the WHL, like, it's tough to compare because everything happened in the Stone Age where it was easier to score goals than it was to screw in a light bulb. The closest comparison in the modern age would probably have to be his fellow draft class rival Braden Yager, who's posted 32 goals so far this season as a 16-year-old. And he actually took down a record of his own. He beat Theo Fleury's franchise record for goals as a 16-year-old, which has been standing there since 1985. As for Bedard, he could probably take down Regina's franchise record in this category by the end of the year. He only needs 5 more goals to beat Jeff Friesen's record, which has been standing since 1993. Bedard wasn't the only one to reach 40 this week though. He was also joined by Jackson Berezowski of the Silvertips and your old pal Dylan Gunther. Although, your boy Ben King is creeping on 50. Currently rocking 47 with 8 games remaining. But none of these guys are going to be scoring against Winnipeg though. I mean, 2 of them literally can't because of the Eastern-Western Conference thing, but the Ice have been impenetrable over the last month. Currently on this 7-game win streak of theirs, which has actually clinched them the East Division title, they have accumulated 5 shutouts in the process, 4 of which coming from draft-eligible Daniel Hauser. Has the competition been slighter than usual? Yes, a little bit, but to consistently post goose eggs on a nightly basis like this is still unbelievable. Poor Hauser probably has his Gatorade bottle filled with coffee because, that's not an easy job. Seeing only 18 to 25 shots a night, you can get tired, fatigued. Where's the action? You easily can lose focus. But he's been dialed in this year. He's 24-2-1 with 7 shutouts to his name. Looks very tidy. Which is the exact opposite of the defensive scene going on in Regina right now. I want these guys to succeed so badly, but the defensive consistency is nowhere to be found. They've got no trouble scoring goals. They've averaged 4.5 goals per game this week and sit 10th in the league for goals for, with the 6th ranked power play as well. But they have the worst PK in the entire league, sitting at 71%, which is actually worse on home ice at 69.6%. When you're letting the Moose Jaw Warriors wine and dine you for 10 goals with a 75% power play, you're just asking for it. This isn't even entirely a depth scoring issue anymore. Guys like Braxton Whitehead, Zach Stringer, and Cole Dubinsky have been burying rubber all week. But defensively, the whole unit needs to start providing Drew Sim and Matthew Keeper some support. But even they have to be better too. This isn't just a critique on the defense. Everyone needs to be better in Regina. They have games in hand and sit 2 points out of a playoff position, but things need to change now before it's too late. Well, that was a lot to cover, but it's time for our wrap up with the top players. First off, it's Olen Zellweger, 8 assists across 4 contests. It was actually originally 9, but they took one away. Still Unbelievable stuff. Then we have Denton Matejchuk. He had a 6-assist game in that Slaughterfest vs Regina. Keep your eyes open for him in the first round at the 2022 draft. Which leaves Dylan Garand in the final spot for his clinical performance in the doubleheader vs Kelowna this week. If it weren't for him, Kamloops' 8-game win streak would just be a thing of fantasy. And for the top teams, Garand's Blazers sit atop of the list, followed by the Ice and their defensive prowess, leaving Portland and Lethbridge with the final spots. It was a stunning week in the WHL. Love the environment out in Langley too. It's always nice to see the American teams come up for a visit. Got some necessary views in on a collection of guys, and all I gotta say is, it was a great spring break. I'm looking forward to getting back to these though. Hope you enjoyed this installment, and I hope to see you next week. More playoff spots are bound to fall. See ya.